Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Today it's about this plugin here called Plasma by iZotope, and some people wanted to know how to replicate this or kind of fake it inside of Bitwig Studio. And at its core, this is just a normal saturator. The special thing about this plugin is that it only saturates certain parts of the frequency spectrum. So you have here on the left side some kind of preset. So here it's master balanced. And with this, you get some kind of curvy threshold. And then you pull down the threshold, or you increase here the flux saturate button. And then it only saturates, for instance, only the low end or only some parts of the mid frequencies here or the top end and so on. So that's the special thing about it, right? And then you have your attack, release and overdrive, which is probably just input gain. And for me, this is not very interesting here because you waste a lot of CPU power for separating, frequency bins and the FFT processing and so on. To only then saturate certain parts, and it's very, very subtle. And for this very subtle effect, you waste a lot of CPU power. So it's not really for me. I'm kind of happy with the full band, single band saturation or saturators. And if you use it in parallel, you get kind of similar effect. So it's not really for me, but I understand that some people really want to have this in their tool belt and want to see how you can replicate it in Bitwig Studio. So I thought of a method. Maybe it's not the perfect method, but you can correct me in the comments, of course, if you want. So for one, I want to use a loud split. You probably already guessed it. And with the loud split here, you can hear the full band here. Maybe put here the master. Maybe increase the loudness a bit. So now with the loud split, we can say we only want to single out here the loudest parts. So we disable here the mid and the quiet parts. So with this threshold here, we can decide which kind of loud signals go above this region here. And we can influence this even a bit better by using an EQ in front. And I also use here chain device. We put this into chain device because we want to have one single preset. So use here an EQ5, something like this. So now we can bring this threshold at this point here. And now we can say we only want to push the low end above this threshold or the top end. Okay, does it make sense? So we use the EQ to push certain frequencies above the threshold here to let it pass. So that's the idea. What we can do then is we can, let's say, go in here and use in the loud part filter plus. And filter plus in the loud part here has the filter disabled. I don't need the filter. I only want to have the transfer curve here. And I use the filter plus device because I don't want to use an FX grid. You can also use an FX grid. But for me here, this is more straightforward. You have this full transfer interface inside of the chain. So here we can say we want to load up some kind of curve. We can use here, let's say, a soft clip. We use bipolar. And then we saturate only stuff that goes into this loud portion here. Does it make sense? Then we use again a chain device here. And I really like to use the chain device because of this wet gain learn. So you put the filter plus device into this here. And then we match the loudness. Now that we match the loudness, we can bring this to 50%. So we mix the dry signal, everything that's above this threshold here, the dry signal of that, and the saturated signal of that. So we mix these, blend these two together. And then we do here, let's say, a tool device and flip the polarity of this. So we cancel out everything from the dry signal with the saturated wet signal, which kind of leaves us, I think, with only with the saturated parts, so with the overtones, and it cancels out the original parts. I hope this makes sense. So you only have basically everything that makes the signal saturated, or the overtones. That's what you get here after this chain device. Okay, so with inverting here the polarity, we have only the overtones and the fundamentals are disabled or cancelled out. So then we close this down and we use a tool device again here and flip it again. So we don't cancel actually this saturation signal here with the dry signal, because we want to mix it here then later on. So I flip it here again. So that's what I do. And then we can mix here in the original dry signal. Okay, and now we can already use here, let's say, at page, and we can say this is flux knob, right? So we can have a completely untouched signal. Something like this. And then we have here attack release, so we can use rise fall time. So the rise and fall time decides how long these bins stay when they touch this threshold, so we get a smoother signal. Then we have here the output gain of the EQ5, so we can call this drive. This would be this here, or overdrive. It probably does something different on this plugin, and it's different balanced, but it's more or less about getting the same idea or the same effect. It's not like you can replicate this to 100%. I have no idea what they did internally here. But this is my idea how this kind of works, and it's maybe just an interesting effect you can use. Okay, do we have something else? Yeah, basically this curve here, this preset is what you change in here, right? So you can say, I only want to saturate the low end, right? And I want to get the high end out of the saturator. This would be this curve, right? Or you only want to saturate the mid band here, right? So you push up this, and then all these frequencies go above this line here, and then go into this processing, and then you only saturate basically everything in the mid part, right? And then you mix it in with the flux knob here and make it happen. Maybe we can also, instead of flux using a mix, we could use maybe the mount knob. Should work too, right? This is a mix, and this the mount knob here, and call this. So the mount knob changes the gain of this, right? It slowly fades this in, and it slowly moves or pushes the frequencies here above the threshold, then you get more and more saturation. And then you can use the wet gain learn here to learn the loudness of the dry signal and the signal coming out here of the process. I don't know if it makes sense. And push the loudness here a bit. So you can balance out the dry signal versus the saturated overtones that will be added much more easily with this. So that's how I would do it, in my opinion. Maybe we call this here, what's the name? Plasma. Put this here, 25% here. We can leave this curve. It's that 500 Hertz. Let's go for this. The max here. Of course, the max is not important because we have this amount knob here. So this is then 0 dB and this is then 24 dB. Back release time, fall time. That's okay. Yeah, I think that's how I would do it. Maybe you need to change then here the saturation curve if you want to have something different here or more effective. That's something you can exchange. But I think this should fairly do kind of the same thing as Plasma. And I put this preset here in the description below completely for free. You don't need to subscribe to anything, right? Only leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.